seated.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with George Henry Torres II, owner and president of River City Home Care, a home care business here in San Antonio and Corpus Christi. We've been talking about all the bad things that can happen if you hire the wrong caregiver, but this is the legacy segment, and so we want to ask you about your legacy.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So, George, attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. It's all about legacy. And so we like to ask our guests about legacy, and I wanted to ask you about how you want the community to remember you for the impact that you may have made.
Well, thank you. That's something that is very deep within my heart that I'd like to share. The first thing that I'd say on a spiritual aspect is the legacy that I'd like to live within my family, and knowing that the one thing that we can take into heaven that we can't leave, that we can't bring with us from here. We can't bring any wealth or any accumulation or any of the accolades, but we can certainly bring other souls, and most importantly, those that God has entrusted us with, which is our own family, my spouse and my children, of leading them to Christ and accepting Him as their Savior and repentance upon them, and all those that we can touch every day. So upon the community, everything that I do is Christ-centric and focused, and that I want that to be a reflection of our organization and in all the ministries that I'm involved with, and certainly my business is a ministry in many regards too, because there are families that we work with that will pray with them, and they just feel so relieved and moved and give themselves over to Christ. So that's the spiritual piece of it. The rest is I definitely would like to allow for my family to have that transfer of just peace. Certainly, of course, I want the wealth accumulation aspect of it, but lately for me, even a reflection of the Lord's Prayer, when give us this day our daily bread, I have changed that of the personal needs and turning it more to the spiritual graces. God equipped me with what's needed for whatever might be of grace that's needed for that day, whether it's being in a manner of advising somebody or even just acting Christ-like in many regards to being the bigger and better person, because sometimes there's a lot of divides in our world and there's a lot of attacks, and it's just trying to be the forgiving and loving and supportive person that Christ wants us to be.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm really in awe of your faith and how open you are with sharing it. That's cool.
Well, and I want to give another thing too, that when reading and thinking about that was I'd like to be remembered for my courage and faith as well, just like Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
just being bold and speaking truth.
Yeah. And the impact that you have on people, I think, is enormous, because you're hired to take care of this one person, but the impact isn't just on that one person, because you help that person's whole family. They can now feel better that their loved one is going to be taken care of. That, just like you said in the segment before, you help lower stress. You're helping them to live longer lives and to have healthier family relationships. I mean, it just a ripple effect of the people that you have an impact on.
Yeah, most may be in the position but not know of the term that's used for the sandwich generation. And we were talking a little bit about that, and I'll just share something that was impressed upon my heart that the Lord had put in me of being bold and sharing the information that most families don't know as far as their options and resources and the levels of complexity and how that can be completely layered. But the sandwich generation is defined as an individual who's caring for an aging parent and young children and caught in between. And so with that, I've been just inspired by the Lord to start a segment which will be called the Sandwich Menu. And so I'll be honored to have you on that podcast
Yeah,
down the
that'd
road.
be
We're
great.
still working out the kinks there, but and it is something for me to be bold on. I have, of course, naturally it's a little uneasy, but I'm going to live out in faith. God calls, equips the called, and
That's
doesn't call
right.
the equipped. So,
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to building, upon that. But and that would be hopefully part of the legacy as well.
Right. So one of the hidden legal blind spots is financial in nature too. We talked about it, I think, in the second segment. How do I pay for this? And you just mentioned long-term care. Why is dealing with long-term care insurance so difficult? And how can you help?
Sure. I'll tell you, there's a lot of paperwork associated with it. That most families will be overwhelmed, especially if you're a recipient of care. They may put a call in to receive a claim packet, or not even honestly remember that they have it in force. Mm-hmm. So a simple conversation with your loved one, if you have and ask them if they have a long-term care insurance policy. Now, you may not know, they may not even remember, but if you have fiduciary responsibility and on accounts, you may want to see if there's a reoccurring payment towards a insurance company, or something that looks like you may want to inquire about it.
Whatever insurance company it is, find out what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It might be long-term care insurance. And if you have an estate planning binder and you have long-term care insurance, get a copy of the policy, the whole contract, all the papers, and put it in the binder, because the person that's going to help you, the agent under power of attorney, is going to have the power of attorney document in that binder, and they're going to have to fax it over to the long-term care insurance company anyway. So you have those two documents together. It's just the important documents binder.
Absolutely. And again, very blessed to have been exposed to that early on. Little did I know that it would end up being, 20 years into the industry and supportive for the community in that respect. But we simplify it in every regard to the family who is looking for activating that policy. So please give us a call. Again, 210-342-CARE, 210-342-2273. There's no fee associated with that. We can look through your long-term care policy. We can advise as to whether or not, it's time to activate it, because some people may think that, okay, we're ready to utilize the policy. Mom needs a driver. But if they don't qualify on the basis of the contract, because essentially it is a contract between the individual and the insurance company.
It's kind of like auto insurance. You can buy these different little features and riders.
Oh, the different riders, absolutely. And many may not know that they have a home modification rider that's available to them. They may have a waiver of premium. So you've been paying premium on this all the time. You hired a private caregiver to just not activate this policy to go through the trouble of it, but you could have actually utilized it all along and waived the premium and not have to be paying the premium any longer, preserving wealth for the legacy.
Right, yeah.
So it's just, it merits a call.
Yeah, and a lot of those companies are hard to work with. I had a client asking me, why did I get denied for benefits? He said, I read Mom's policy. It seems to me like she should be getting benefits, and they sent me this letter that says denied. What do they do in that case?
Well, we probably have to revisit and see as to why they were denied. Most likely, and I'll say it, they have to actually be compliant too with the acceptance of care, because if our staff is going in there and rendering help and support, and the documentation's just what justifies the claim is they need help with bathing and dressing. If one says, nope, I don't need that help, then they can't truthfully document that was provided during the course of that visit. So some cases that may happen, but we definitely want to support and encourage to follow the care plan.
Another hidden legal issue, blind spot, George, is that some caregivers can be classified as employees unknowing to the person that hired them. You don't think that they're your employee, but I had a client one time, his caregiver and he got into an argument, and the caregiver went to Texas Workforce Commission and filed for unemployment, and my older client said, well, he's not my employee, he's just helping me around the house. Well, Texas Workforce Commission said he was your employee, and now you have to pay all these unemployment taxes and payroll taxes to the IRS. So if you don't want to be stuck getting blindsided by that, then you might as well just hire the caregiving company to begin with, because you take on all that liability.
We do. We pay FICA, FUTA, Medicare, Social Security, again, even any type of payroll deductions, any other withdrawals, and those voluntary contributions to the 401k pre-tax dollars that we can offer as well. The definition of employee W-2 versus 1099 is based on the IRS code. Telling somebody where to go, when to go, and how to do it, that's a definition of an employee. Mm-hmm. A contract labor is allowing them the autonomy to do certain things, but if you have somebody who's scheduled and you're requesting them to be there from this time to this time, that's your employee. Yeah. And it's your responsibility to match those taxes.
The payroll taxes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some people get away with it and some people don't. I just don't want you to be the one that gets hammered by the government for doing the wrong thing. So it's worth a conversation.
Absolutely. You may be thinking that you're saving some money, but it's going to end up costing you the same in the long run. And frankly, if you have a policy, you need to utilize a licensed agency to help you facilitate that claim.
Okay. Well, we have to end the show, George, but thank you so much for joining us. I think that our audience got a lot out of that. If you did, please post a comment on Facebook, say something that you learned. If you're listening on YouTube, post a comment, tell us what you learned. If you want to email me, it's host@talklawradio.com. I'm Todd Marquardt. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.